Okay, so let's switch tracks a little bit now because you recently, somewhat recently, started some entrepreneurial work, starting your own
Yes.
business, as we can see behind you. I like
Yes.
it. And so that's something I want to get into because I feel like even though, this podcast used to be focused on like careers and that path, but it's becoming very obvious that like in order to thrive in life, we need to be doing things differently. And that's like having multiple streams of income and all those hot topics that we're hearing about. So I think it's something we need to talk about more and highlight, like just how people are making work for them.
Yeah.
And your business actually focuses on, the money, personal finance, and wealth building. So let's talk about that. Like, what is it that you do in your business? How and why did you start?
So I'll give you the how and why I started. So you've heard all the schooling that I've done, and that was not financed through my parents. That was not financed through anything else other than loans. So at the end of all my years of school, and I ended with a roughly around 70,000 Canadian dollars of student debt. And in the beginning, I never used to even check my loan balances. I just used to know my money coming, yeah, got in my account. I pay my tuition, I pay my rent, and then I'll figure out the rest. And it was only when I was finished and I was talking to my brother, I'm like, hey, when I finished college, actually, I was talking to my brother. I was like, I'm thinking about purchasing a property. He's like, okay, well, go to the bank and, see what you could qualify for. And I went to the bank and they're like, you have too much debt in order for you to be able to get a property. And this is like 2016-ish, 2016, 2017, or around that time. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to university, got my engineering degree after my diploma, racked up a little bit more debt. Now, be mindful, I did work for that year, so it wasn't as bad. I was able to save. And when I finished, I had $70,000 of debt. And I was low-key depressed. I can't even lie. I was like, how am I going to get out of this situation? Like, how am I going to pay this off? Yeah, let's say if I'm making $60,000 on paper, after tax is more like 48. I still have rent to pay. So from the beginning, I came across this financial guy named Dave Ramsey. Um, and I don't agree with all Dave Ramsey's philosophies, but I do agree with his paying off debt strategy. And he's like, look, if you got debt, you're broke. You got no money. So he introduced me to different types of debt repayment strategies. My personal favorite was the snowball effect, means you do the minimum payouts on all your debt, but you attack the smallest one the fastest. And it was more of a mental thing. It's like once you finish the smallest one, you feel better, you're going to attack the other. So from that, paid off a lot of debt. And in 2020, I just finished university. I got my first engineering job as a designer, very happy. And I started in February or no, it started in March of 2020 and then the pandemic happened. So I got sent home temporarily, stayed home for 2 months, and then I got introduced into the world of stocks. So in my brain, I already know how to handle debt. I'm like, now I need to learn how to attain assets. And I was aware of the stock market before, but I never really understood it. So during the pandemic time, 2020, when things were so down, I started learning and I just started buying books, courses, watching videos. Like I literally dedicated like so much time and learning into it that I tell people, if you take all the years of studying that I did for university and you take the amount of time I put into studying the stock market, I actually study more hours in the stock market trying to understand it than I did university. And people think I'm lying. I'm like, you don't know how addicted. Because I'm like, it clearly works. I just need to understand how. So from that, I started, doing way more research, and you start to notice that the people who are in the top 10% or the top 1%, what are they doing different from everyone else? And they're collecting assets. And it's not just real estate, it's stocks, it's bonds, it's so many different other type of assets out there that you could collect. So that's when I just started getting really involved and started understanding the stock market more, just the S&P 500. But then as time grew on, so that was 2020. So by like 2022, 2 years later, I started understanding how to evaluate companies. And that was another skill that I picked up. So how to look at a company, how to look at their finances, how to look at what their competitive advantage is, how to look at how their business fits the economy that we're living in today. So once I started learning that to me was like the game changer where I'm like, this is unbelievable. Like, this is valuable information that I've just continued to learn and I'm still learning. And I'm like, you know what? I know enough at this point where I could start teaching it to others. And that's where I started posting social media clips where it's like in 2022, I started telling people, these are the companies that I'm buying. This is what I'm doing right now. And I try to give brief notes as to why I'm doing what I'm doing and what I'm seeing. And so far, all my investments are doing really well.
Yeah.
Really well. So
Love that for you.
I'm on that path where I'm just like, I just want people to understand, like, you don't have to just rely on your 9 to 5s. I've actually worked with someone personally in one of my last projects, and he's working for a different company, but he showed me that, hey, Andre, I bought these 2 houses back in, I think it was like 2014 for 300,000, and he just sold one for 1.3 million, and he sold the other for 1 point something million, and he just paid off his house, and he works a 9 to 5. He doesn't do anything else. So I'm like, if he could do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know house prices aren't where they were before, but if we're seeing the trend, we see they're going to continue going up. So I'm just like, I need to be able to collect as much assets for myself, help my family out, help my friends out, and just help as much people as I possibly can.